In this lab, we will use the conversation tool in Bluemix to identify intents used in requests, create entities used in conversation, and finally, we will form branches to handle responses in the dialog tool. Now, before moving on to the lab, there are a few prerequisites that need to be met. First, you will need to watch the conversation overview video to get an understanding of the service and how it works. Next, you will need a Bluemix account. And lastly, you will need to have completed the previous labs in the course, as we will be building on each lab to make a more complete application. So the solution that we are building has three parts: Watson Discovery, Watson Conversation, and the application itself. We built the Watson Discovery portion in the previous labs, and in this lab, we will build the Watson Conversation portion. In the next conversation lab, we will build the application portion and use it to tie discovery and conversation together. The application that we will be building is a hotel review chatbot that will be able to take inquiries from users in natural language and return relevant answers. We will train the chatbot to identify certain intents and entities in order to recognize what it is a user is asking for. And lastly, we will build a conversation flow to return a response after a certain intent or entity has been recognized in a user's inquiry. Now I'd like to talk about the scenario around the application and why this application is useful. So when booking hotels, users commonly read customer reviews to get an idea of what the quality of the hotel is like. There can sometimes be hundreds or thousands of reviews, and it's unreasonable to want to read through all of them. This hotel review bot will be able to aggregate the reviews and run analysis on them as a whole. Before we move on to the lab, I'd like to introduce the conversation tool that we'll be using. The conversation tool's interface is easy to learn and easy to use. In the tool, you can separate your conversation projects by creating a different workspace for each one. This allows you to use the same service for different applications. The tool's simple interface makes it easy to add intents and entities wherever you choose. All you need to do is add the intent or entity, provide examples, and allow some time for Watson to train on the newly supplied data. Lastly, the flow of conversation is visualized through the dialog tooling. This tooling allows you to specify how your application will respond to natural language inputs depending on the intents or entities identified. With that said, let's move on to the lab.